current government, I mean, you introducing yourself talked about you didn't say pro-war, did you say pro-war?
I said pro-war.
Yeah. So you're suggesting that there are, you know, well, would you like to justify calling this government a pro-war government?
Yeah, I mean, they're conducting a war, and it's a government that is believing that the war that the conflict can be resolved through military means, and they've gone into the east and they've conducted the war there, and they would probably say that they have won the war against the LTT there and are now moving it on to the north. And I guess the question that's being raised is that, yes, the military campaign, I mean, not looking at the civilian toll that there's clearly been, but if you sort of really hard-nosed about it, you could possibly argue that the military campaign has been won, but does that mean the LTT has been driven underground? Will there be more attacks in future? And already in summer there were 2 attacks on Colombo with light aircraft. So has this conflict really been won in the east, or is the LTT reverting back to another form of military resistance?
I mean, they're conducting a war, but would not the government argue that you know, that they tried the peace negotiations route and that the Tigers, you know, betrayed their trust, or wouldn't? I mean, presumably that's what they would argue. Are there? I mean, I hear it said that there are strong, and I heard this when I was there in the mid-90s, and I would have heard it again in the last few days, that there are strong vested interests within the Sri Lankan establishment which favour the prolongation of the conflict. Could you talk to that?
Well, that could be one reason, but I think the main reason for prolongation of the military conflict is Sinhala regime's inability to come to terms with the ethnic issue and come out with a practical political solution to the issue. And Sinhala regime has never been able. They came very close to it, you know, 59, 65, 2000. Again, two incidents shows this very clearly. When LTT came up with the ISGA, we may not agree with that. That's
sorry, ISGA.
ISGA is interim self-governing authority. Because UNP government gave them at the ceasefire, they gave the set of proposals, very draft. Then LTT came up with their own proposals, very elaborate set of proposals. Maybe we may not agree with that, some of them agree with that. What happened after 3 days after that proposal was submitted, President Kumaratunga, as Kuruparan said, took over 3 ministries, thereby started the collapse of Ranil Wickremesinghe's government. When Chandrika Bandaranaike came to power, and then she had election and she won, and then came the tsunami. And after the tsunami, you know what happened, like in Aceh, Sri Lanka also wanted to have a tsunami reconstruction authority which would have given autonomous power to LTT to rebuild their own areas. And President Kumaratunga favored that. But JVP went to the courts, and Supreme Court, JVP left the government, and Supreme Court said this is unconstitutional. And you know, this is the most recent things that attempts from both sides, one from LTT side, one from the Sri Lankan government side, which tried to have a meaningful negotiation, how it was blocked by one at the judiciary level, one at the political level. And this has been the history of Sri Lanka.